Okay.
Sir, ref1 is like another pointer then.
Yes. Because everything that
How?
is happening at this line only. Now comes the question, why are we using the self? Self is used for whom? Or is self holding something? Yes, self is holding the reference of this particular object. When we are declaring this line, this reference is holding an address of the object that got created. That address has been stored by this reference variable. Every time when we will access this particular class, we have to pass the data or the address that is held by this reference to this self. So that means if I am passing the address of this reference to the self, Python will understand that it is talking about this reference variable. Similarly, I can also create multiple reference variables. I can create multiple reference variables. Suppose if I want to repeat this input twice, okay? So after initializing the first reference variable, I want to take another input. And I want to create one more reference variable. But this reference variable is 2. So I want to go for this. So here I am taking couple of inputs. According to which I am initializing this reference variable. Here I am taking another 2 input, another fresh 2 new input. According to that I am referencing this particular variable, this particular reference. So when it is getting referred, whatever input, whatever data this reference variable hold, according to that, that print statement is going to work. In the same way, when I'm going to fire this, according to that, this reference variable is going to fire. Let's do it. So this is the first input. This is the second input. Both came. So when you are giving a call, will be referred to this self or to this self. Similarly, when you are writing ref2, the address hold by ref2 will be passed to this self. So basically now how the diagram is going to be developed. So that means two references are getting created. This is ref1, this is ref2. Ref1 has got its own keyargs. Ref2 has got its own keyargs. This is ref1 key underscore fname, key underscore nlem. This is ref2 So what self is basically doing? Self is going to hold the address of this reference. So suppose this reference address, consider if it is 1001. So whenever you are calling ref1 dot someone, the self is going to refer to 1001. Same thing over here also. So if this address is opposed to 2001, so self is going to hold to 2001. So if self you are not initializing, then self will not be able to point this one. So that's the reason whenever we are working on object-oriented programming, self plays a very important role, because with the help of self, you will be able to refer to the respective reference. That is what is going to happen. I will ask everybody, please take this diagram. Take a snapshot of this so that when you are going through this program, you feel comfortable.
So then self is another pointer.
Internally, somewhat like that.
So now self is keeping the address of ref1.
Reference. Self is keeping
Yes.
the address of this reference. So when you are giving a call, to this line, or when you are creating this reference, the address which ref1 is holding, that got referred over here. So according to that object reference, whatever fname, whatever name, that will get assigned. Similarly, when you are creating this reference variable, according to that, fname and name will be generated. So this self is going to play a very crucial role. If this argument is not there, then you will not be able to differentiate between which one. Remember, these are all common arguments. These arguments are common. You are not creating two separate arguments, one for this one for this one. You are not doing it. They are all common. This entire set is common. So when they are common, so naturally there will be a redundant. There will be an ambiguity. So to resolve that ambiguity, some kind of unique identification is required. And that unique identification will be held by this self. So whenever you are creating a reference, the address held by this reference will be passed to this self, and accordingly all these initialization will be taking place. Okay. So self is the one that uniquely identify the resources referred for the given reference. Self is able to uniquely identify. So self will be able to uniquely identify the resources referred for a given reference variable. So this is my reference variable ref1, and the resources are these resources. They are all common for both the references, but with the help of self, I can distinguish that these refer to which reference variable. Is it meant for ref1 or is it meant for ref2?
So when we use the self dot my f name, so the self knows that I will be referring to this reference, like the ref one.
Right.
Then when we are using self dot my L name, then self will know that I will be referring to ref2 now.
Right.
Is it how it's working?
Yes. Exactly.
That's why we are using the dot name
True.
to tell the self that you go refer to this.
Exactly.
In this case, we have a single class. If we had like multiple classes, then what we will do?
We will not together jointly. They will not work. No, they will work for one particular class only. Your reference variable will be created on basis of one class. You are not going to, when you are creating a reference variable that will meant for one particular class only. Joint class venture won't be there, no? That this reference variable will meant for this class as well as for another class, no. Ultimately, a reference variable will belong to one single class only. That might have an inheritance, but one reference variable is not product of two class. That's not the way it works. So a reference variable will always be denoted for one particular class only.
So it's like one reference, one class.
Yes. That class might have an inheritance. That is fine. That is okay. No problem. But at the end of the day, it will be child of one class only.
Like class inside a class.
So anybody else has got any question in context to this, please come up. Because now I will give you some task. So before I assign the task, I'm repeatedly asking you people, if you have a question, clear your doubt.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, how does ref2 understand which variable we are referring to? Because my f1.
Because of this line. The moment you are writing this line, look, in this ref, you have already mentioned what data you are passing for this, what data you are passing for this. You have already mentioned that. So that means in memory already this thing got created. So the memory, it's something like, suppose when you are writing Microsoft Word file. In your Microsoft Word file, in one file you are writing some content, in another file you are writing another content. Have you wondered that how computer will remember which data is present in which file? Because you are assigning a file name. In one particular location, you are keeping multiple files, but each one of them has got a unique name. So you consider this to be that name part. Am I writing two references with the same name? No. So this is the Microsoft Word file name, and these are the data that I'm putting inside the Word file. No problem. Ambiguity will arise if this reference is also ref1, which operating system will not allow you. You cannot keep two files inside documents. Their name has to be different. Understood? So ref1 denotes the file name, and these are the information which I'm storing it for the respective files. That's all.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now sounds simple, no? Otherwise the thing was becoming critical.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So think from the perspective of as an application. Okay. So suppose in your documents you have got 10 Microsoft Word files. So these are, just imagine this student class represent Microsoft Word. So these 10 files all are Word file. But inside the Word file you have added different data. Ambiguity won't be there. Why? Because each file you are referring by some name. That's the reason operating system, whichever operating system you are working, will never allow you to store two references by the same name in the same location. Point to be noted. Two files by the same name can exist, then the location has to be different. In the same location, you are not allowed to write two files with the same name. So with the help of this reference, the content is getting different. So now when you are opening this particular data, whichever address this file was referred to, that address I'm passing to self. So naturally, if you double click on a file called ABC, you will be able to see data of that file. Whatever is there in XYZ, will it be visible? No, because you have double clicked on ABC file. The same thing over here also. When I'm double clicking on this particular reference, whatever data I have given, that is getting highlighted. So the self is working as a container for holding the name of a particular reference, name or address, whatever you call it. Just imagine in your RAM, there has to be one area, no, where your Word files or your files will be getting stored. So think that to be like self. So self is like a memory block where it is going to provide you the space where you will be keeping the reference and eventually you will be able to see the data.
Sir.
Yeah.
So the number of references we make are the number of times you want an output. Like you printed two names, so we have two references here. And suppose I want to make more I want to print more number of names, so I make more number of references like ref 3, ref 4.
Every student of MIT Biotech, MIT has to insert their data individually. When MIT was inserting the data of Asutosh, that was not reflecting Biswajit. When Biswajit data was fed in, that was not reflecting the data of Alankar. So all are individually been fed. Same thing over here. If you are working on Microsoft Word file, if you have 10 files, you are the person who have created those 10 files. One file automatically did not create rest 9 files. The same thing over here. If you want to feed another set of student information, again you have to create the reference. So consider this to be one student information. So if there are 5 students, 5 times I have to feed. And of course 5 reference will be created for that. Individual reference will reflect individual students. Yeah, then you will say that is it becoming really a hectic stuff? Yes, that's the reason the database will come in picture. That's true. In this way, if we continue doing it, surely at some point of time we will have a problem. Problem not in form of storing, problem in form of accessing. And that's the reason though why database will come in picture, and that's the reason you have a subject called DBMS. So finally what we will do, we will replace this data not inside we will not keep the data inside the Python, we'll pass it to some other file. Okay, so here from the data will be taken and it will be stored to some other file. That program also we will do. I will work on a sample file. I will create a file called abc.txt, which is not a Python file. Okay. I will take the input via Python and I will store it in that file. Hence that data will remain permanent. Remember, this particular data which you are feeding is not permanent. The moment I close my program, the data is lost. Of course, an organization will not allow you to develop this kind of application, right? You have to preserve the data. And on the top of that, security comes in. You have to restrict the data also. So storing is one side, preventing an unauthorized access is another side. All these things together, what will create an enterprise level application, isn't it? So that's how the thing will come up. So at this point of time, Python is taking the data, Python is storing the data, Python is showing the data. but of course, it's for temporary. The moment you're out of the program, the data are all gone. Hence, file system will come in picture. That how do we store the data in a file? That we will see in upcoming classes.
So like you're saying, it would be hectic to manually input or access all these great number of references. So why do we use it, sir? Like,
At some point of
we
time,
have DCMS.
Rome was not built in a day, right?
Okay, sir.
Slowly and steadily, we have to step into it. Database also did not originate in one fine morning.
Yes, sir.
That's the reason file system is there. So we will be working on file as well. Again, that is also not at professional level. Let me tell you one thing honestly. When you will be working on software, you have to work on a professional level. But yes, at the academic level, the time when you will be sitting for interview or for doing some kind of research work, these things will be taken in consideration. If you are planning, those people who are planning to go for research, R&D, definitely in front of the jury members, you have to justify that your data are preserved securely. Remember one thing, data storing is one thing, data manipulation is another thing, data preservation is another thing. They are not all the same. You can store the data in a notepad file, but that data might not be secure. So you have to consider storing manipulation. Manipulation has to be faster. It took a lot of time for manipulation. Again, that is not also optimized. It's an era where speed is very important to us. So time complexity, memory complexity, and safety, all these things has to be accountable. But yes, for that reason, higher architectures are there. Python is just the mere beginning. Of course, these kinds of abnormalities are there. And for that reason, what will come up is framework. Have you heard about this term? Python framework. Python framework. And the very popular framework is called Django framework. Yes, just now the person who told that this is going to be a very hectic kind of work. Yes, of course, it's going to be hectic. It's truly hectic, and that's not at all a professional. That's the reason web framework will come in picture. A framework will come in picture. And Django is a framework of Python. Thereby, you will be developing an application which is much faster, secure, and easy to handle. Understood? So everything will not be done by Python alone. Different architectures have been developed for different requirements. Accordingly, we have to do it. In your case, there is a library that will come in picture. It's called BioPython. There will be a small library that will come in picture. So for every requirement, different kind of architectures has been manipulated, has been developed. So accordingly, those will be handled. But at this point of time, we are working on a raw application. We don't have the support of any additional libraries. Okay, the segment which I'm teaching you people involve the core Python. We are not including any kind of dependency. But at professional level, when you go, of course, you have to work with dependency because those are very much optimized. The core Python will not give you the optimal thing. That's the reason the thing has been upgraded and has been brought in the form of a framework. Like you staying in a one room and you staying in a flat that is more organized. Dedicated rooms has been assigned for doing respective tasks, isn't it? So Python is something like we are working in a one single room. But in real life scenario, we have to work with framework. But before you step into framework, these architectures, these things, you have to be very clear because based on this only, the framework has been developed.
Sir,
Yes.
we are using this keyword to tell keyword argument to refer to either F1 or F2 in this program. And we use the dot myFname for self to tell that the self has to refer to either F1 or F2. And now we are giving this equal sign between them. Is it to like check that if the addresses are same or not?
Say once again, I
Or
did
is
not
that-
get your point. All these are different variables. First of all, this is meant for key. It has got nothing to do with this one. Let's keep them as they are. This is referred for a key. So the task of this is solely associated with this one, nothing beyond that. This is a variable that I'm creating for the given class. This variable has got nothing to do with this one. They are all independent entities.
So the keyword is used to tell keyword argument, the KWRT.
Whatever I'm writing over here, that is just meant for this one. That's all.
Yes, it's only for the keyword argument, nothing more.
Right.
So
So now this particular keyword argument will not be available all throughout the class. It will be available only within this container. But I want to access this resource maybe in some other function. So for that reason, from here, I have to retrieve it and store it in somewhere else so that I can avail that all throughout the class. So that's the reason why I created a variable which is meant for the class so that it can be accessible in another method. This particular variable is only available in the constructor. The moment you come out of the constructor, you will not get the availability of this variable. So before you come out of the constructor, that's the reason you pass it to someone else who has got global access.
So in this case, it's the keyword as the keyword k underscore my f name, which is outside the class and also which refers to the KWART.
This one just refers to the constructor.
Yes, sir. The KWART is only for the constructor, while the k underscore my f name, this one is inside the class and also it's outside the class in the main function.
Which one are you talking about? Line number 4 or line number 14?
So in the 14 number line.
This is just a keyword. This key is also referred to this only. After that, it has got nothing to do. This key meant to this one only. You cannot write this over here. In this function, I cannot write this key. This key underscore f name, I cannot write over here. Not write like this. It has got no existence. See, it's already started giving error. That is what I'm trying to say. This key underscore f name refers to the constructor, and constructor, when having an argument, will pass the whole set of argument to this keyword array, args. Keyword args will use a special function called get for extracting this f name. So this line I cannot write even over here also. I cannot write over here. It's also giving an error. If I try to write this over here, that is also not going to work. Why? Because this has got no existence in this method. It is only available as long as you are inside the constructor. Outside the constructor, it has got no undefined variable. Outside the constructor, this has got no existence. This is only meant for constructor. And this is only meant to hold the keyword that you are passing while creating the reference. These are the sequence. The data of this will come over here. the availability of this will be only inside the constructor. The constructor is supposed to pass the data to this variable. This variable, I can access it all throughout the class, That's all. Neither can I access this out of the constructor, nor can I access this outside the constructor. They are only restricted within the constructor. If I try to access this outside the constructor, let's see. It's taking the input. I'm giving the input. First input I'm giving. Second input I'm giving. And see, there is an error. KWH is not defined. So it is available as long as it is present inside the constructor and not outside that. Anushri Chaudhary, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Anushri, do you have any question?
No, sir, till now it's clear.
Can you give an overview of this program?
So in the beginning, we're defining a class named student under which I'm giving the constructor, and after that I give another function. Oh, sorry, a method.
Right.
After that, once I'm out of that class, I'm giving a new variable and taking in the inputs. I'm giving the first set of variable to ref1, with ref1, and the second set of variable to ref2, and all of these references are being stored in self, and then the quarks value helps to get the variables which are present outside. It's like a linking which brings the input which I've taken outside in the function inside the class, and then we get and then it is getting printed in the display method.
Talk about line number 4 once.
So in line number 4, I'm taking the self, which is the container, as you said, which is storing the references, and then I'm referencing to my f name, which is a variable which I have like dedicated to a particular data, and then I'm taking the quarks value, which is storing the arguments, and then getting the value which has been stored in that particular variable.
Right. So, what can you summarize from this program? That what are the new thing you learned out of this program?
So everything is new out here.
But still, like these are the terminology I can use from this program. Suppose if I have to frame question out of this program, so what are the question I can frame?
So like the basic ones would be what is the function of self in quarks,
Right.
and then how I am printing the values.
How to implement constructor? Can I write this?
That could be one part of a question, actually, I feel.
Okay. And what can be the what is the function of KWRGS? I can ask this also.
Yes, sir.
How do we fetch value from KWRGS?
Yeah, like there can be many questions in this program, actually.
Right. So I will ask you and everyone thoroughly go through this particular program. because this program is a kind of ideal model that implements the concept of object-oriented programming, that implements the concept of function and method. In your syllabus, this topic is there, where I have to differentiate between function and method. Line number 11 is function, whereas line number 7 is method. So this is an ideal program that covers up how do we call a function. How do we call a function? According to line number 24, we are simply calling the main function. How do we call a method? According to line number 19 and 20, we are calling the method. What class constitute of? Line number 2 up to line number 8. How do we utilize constructor? Or what is the signature of the constructor? Signature refers to line number 3. That a constructor is going to have underscore underscore init underscore underscore and then couple of arguments. What is the role of KWARGS? What is the utility of self? And how do we pass data from a function within the class? So a series of questions that can come out from this program. So I would ask everybody thoroughly practice this program so that every segment of this program is clear. Still, anyone else is there who is having any confusion? Feel free to ask me.
So can you explain self keyword?
Self keyword.
And the self.
Yes, self keyword. Can you tell me the difference between this line, line number 19 and line number 24?
The line number 19 is used to call a method and 24 is used to call a function.
So when you are saying it's used to call a method, why you are saying it is used to call a method? Why are you not saying it is used to call a function?
So because first we are mentioning the reference variable name
Exactly.
and then the method.
Right. So when you are talking about this reference variable name, I need a special variable who is going to hold the content of this reference one. Reference one has got a content. Now somebody has to be there who would be holding that content. And that content is basically an address. Just like the way when we pass data in the function, we create an argument. The arguments are responsible for holding the data. Like the way I'm passing an argument over here, somebody is receiving the data over here. In the same way, when I'm giving a call to a reference, that reference has to be held by somebody. Because this reference is representation of the class within which the method is there. Whereas in this case, the method is standing alone. Standing alone. It has got no superior or no other entity within which it is not wrapped in. But in this case, there is another entity is there which is holding this method. Hence, this ref1 will be responsible to hold an address, and that address will be held by this self. So self is going to hold the address as stored within the reference variable. Okay, so when you are giving a call to a variable, first you have to mention the reference, whose reference is related to this variable, because this variable is now part of this class. So directly you cannot avail this variable. So first of all, you have to say the name of the reference or the address of the reference who is going to access this variable. So in every case now you have to deal with the self keyword. As long as you are inside the class, you have to use the self keyword. Then only we'll be able to access the members. So now I will give you all some simple program for tomorrow using this concept of class, method, constructor, reference. Using this whole concept, you have to write a program, a very simple program. Take two number. Okay, write a program that will be taking two number as input, and then in the display, so whether the number are equal number, or whether or who is greater and who is lesser. Fine. So here, just like the way I took two input, in the same way you will be also taking two input, but this time this input are going to be integer type. That what you will be passing inside the constructor, and the constructor will pass it to the respective variables, and then come to the display method. Inside the display method, evaluate and check whether are they same. Both the numbers can be also same, or if anyone is greater than the other one. Okay. Still we have got some left. You can try even now also. Now also you can do the same. I would ask you that you start doing it right now, and meanwhile if you have any kind of confusion, I'm stopping the recording. Meanwhile, if you have a